Is acute sleepiness making you at risk for performance failure? A lot of new research going into this, and Andrea Petersen is right here on lunch break to give us a sneak preview for her story tomorrow. Fascinating, because it's not just about when you drive, it could be how you perform on the job, anything.
Right. Well, there's two measures that scientists are looking for. One is something that you mentioned, to measure acute sleepiness and the likelihood that a driver is going to crash, a pilot or a doctor is going to make some sort of catastrophic medical error. The other one is also interesting. It's chronic partial sleepiness, which is those of us who only get 5-6 hours of sleep a night when we need 7 or 8, for days on end. And there's an increasing number of studies that are showing a link between this sort of chronic partial sleep deprivation and all sorts of negative health outcomes like diabetes, obesity, heart disease.
This seems very worrisome, because who doesn't have partial, partial
right, no, it seems to be pretty epidemic in our modern society, staying up late.
Is it genetic, though? I seem to know, the CEOs I've interviewed, the ones who tell me they get 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night, they say they're fine. Are they just making that up, or do some people just more tolerant for lack of sleep?
A lot of scientists did tell me that probably a lot of us are walking around not performing optimally because we do have this sort of partial sleep deprivation going on.
Right.
But they have been finding, though, that there is definite wide differences in actually how well people weather sleep deprivation. So there certainly are, and probably part of it is likely genetic. And there have been some genes that some scientists have found that seem to be linked to a resistance or vulnerability to sleep deprivation. But probably more of us think that we fall into that category of people that are not vulnerable than actually do.
And very quickly, in terms of studying people behind the wheel, because this is obviously a place where it's very dangerous, tell us quickly about the research in Australia and what they're measuring in terms of blinking.
Right, well, it's really interesting. One of the ways that, besides sort of the biological biomarkers, a substance in the blood or saliva that you could test and see if someone is sleepy, people are also looking at sort of physical cues. And one is, there actually seems to be a really strong link between the number of these slow eyelid closures, kind of slow blinks, and people get more and more of those slow blinks as the sleepier they get.
Right.
And that seems to be really predictive of whether someone is in danger of crashing or having some kind of
performance failure. Because you can feel it when you're behind the wheel and you start to you're doing this a little bit with your eyes.
Right.
Interesting.
Well, so there's a company in Australia that actually has a pair of glasses that measures those blinks, and mining companies, trucking companies are using those.